Now I need to hear. So Will and Chris, come on, your best like Southern accent or American accent.
Will doesn't.
Yeah, I do quite I do a 7-1 for
I do play a character in a.
That is not how I sound. You sound like you are from
My character's a
Arkansas?
monster.
Yeah.
Listen,
Arkansas.
Yeah, actually, he's like totally like going for that Southern. He almost sounds like some of my redneck grandpa, my uncle.
Yeah.
Oh.
I will not throw stones in my little glass house of accents. So I get to pull out all the fun accents, and they'll be bad, but they'll be fun bad. So
I mean, I don't think mine's a real accent. I just did like an amalgamation of like maybe a little Russian, maybe it's a little Swedish. I will never be consistent, ever.
But as long as you're having fun doing it, you can say it's consistent because it's not a real accent from a place on Earth. It's whatever you're from.
That's what I often think, right? Like someone see the show where it was like, you can't. How can you do like American accents in a fantasy world? That's just not real. It's like, mate, the Forgotten Realms isn't fucking real. You know, like, like who says that, you know, Kentucky is on the Sword Coast? You know, like, you can do whatever the hell you want with voices, as far as I'm concerned.
Lots of places have a north.
Like Liam O'Brien on Control gets a load of criticism for being like, that's not a German accent. It's like, well, it's not German.
Yeah, exactly.
We're not in Germany.
They got German,
Not German.
they got Southern, they've got, you know, all of it coming from a bunch of different places, and it's great to not have to have everything just be either Americanized or really bad British accents. Which I am going to indulge in just so that I can watch
As you should.
completely roll their eyes whenever I pull out a British accent. To make
Don't mention tea and biscuits.
I totally sounded...
What about crumpet?
Crumpets are
crumpets?
fine.
Oh, crumpets are amazing. Oh.
No, I just do it so I can say bloody hell, because bloody hell is just... That's
bollocks.
wish that
Bollocks,
there's not an Americanized version of bloody hell.
No, and you need a. There's no Americanized version of bollocks either, really, is there?
No.
I mean, you could say
Bollocks.
balls.
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 Yeah.
Balls.
Balls.
Don't.
It's descended. We've descended.
Yes.
Actually, that's what they do, but okay.
Yeah.
Oh,
I am pretty sure someone asked about Fantasy Grounds, how we're using it, how we're enjoying it so far. I'm making the scene as I do things because I got drunk last night and didn't do work. So I can show you guys the Fantasy Grounds here in a few moments. We've only just really jumped in and started making characters in it. We haven't really played it, so the first couple of sessions you'll see us working through the kinks. I've used it quite a fair bit now. I run it every week on Sable Dice over on YouTube, and that's worked really well for us. It's been pretty fun, and I love all of the maps that you can do with Fantasy Grounds. It's a steeper learning curve, I found, but once I figured out how to do the stuff, I found that you can do a lot more with it, and things become quite easy. To the point where I'm considering running my next home game in Fantasy Grounds rather than Roll20, because it does a lot of things easily for me that I can't do on Roll20. And now I've been spoiled by it, and I'm like, I want this feature.
It is super powerful, but it is like most power, it can get complicated. So
yes, with great power comes great responsibility.
Complication.
Complication, yeah. Yeah, I will flick over to our Fantasy Grounds screen. Which
how do I
is
minimize Fantasy Grounds?
Right
click and make things go away.
Right click,
Restore.
restore window.
See, now
I meant the whole thing.
Yeah, right click, restore window.
Oh, yeah, you got it. Yeah, there's going to be a lot of that. Like, how do we do that? Okay, cool.
Yeah, you
Is
get
that a
it.
map?
Yeah, it's the map.
Oh, so who are these maps made by? Because I believe we have a artist on the team.
Yes. This came from your website, but the same artist is doing a couple of the maps that we've got, and the name escapes me because I'm
Super Robot Bear is his Twitter handle.
Thank
Ethan Hudgens.
Ethan!
Created these
who
maps.
you gave me to contact, and I was just like, hey, so I've got this and this and this, and like maps just appeared the next day. It was super fast.
He's very swift.
It was amazingly fast.
Yeah, strongly recommend anyone looking for any map commissions to go to @SuperRobotBear on Twitter. Yeah, he's really good. So all the maps for this season, I think, will probably be either from the website. There are a bunch of free ones that you'll be seeing being used on the site, which you can go download for free. And then Ethan's got a couple extra of us commissioned for the show in particular, so you can just drag them in, and we'll be playing around with starting in and in, which is going to be fun.
Yep. Hey, look, it's an in. Hey, who wants to share the double bed?
The
mine.
brothers.
Yeah, I was going to say so.
The brothers. Please put both the brothers in there.
There you go. Find a bed. Yeah, this is the stuff, like, I've been playing around with Fantasy Grounds quite a bit to try to learn, but there's only so much you could do without people,
Right.
which kind of goes back to our whole D&D, like, hey, have you ever played D&D alone by yourself? And it's like, well, yeah, but there's only really so much you can do without somebody else. And so this is the part that both scares and excites me, is making this part happen. Like, it's super cool to have the map, and I'm excited for it, but I'm also usually very much theater of the mind. So every once in a while, I'll just be like, oh, there's a map. I have a map.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
That's how far
That's
away
exactly
you
how I
are.
am
You
as well.
can measure it. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the big thing with me. I'm like, you're like 20, 25. No, actually, you're 15 feet away. I'm sorry.
What I would usually do, I was like, yeah, sure. That sounds right.
I like this. I like all of you in the same bed. I like that there's a big
I'm
bed
not
and
there.
two smaller beds.
Oh,
and-
Nyla.
oh no!
I'm sitting on you.
Oh, that makes sense.
It's a
But yeah.
friendly sit.
I like the idea.
You're welcome
of
for the view.
With top and
waking up
tail.
in a big dog pile on the same bed. This might have to be canon right away.
We all wake
So.
up in the same bed.
I carried them all to the same bed because
There
they
you
just
go.
looked so cute.
Why
dear.
not? I'm also
Come
kind
here
of
now.
fascinated looking at the map on my screen and the map on Will's screen, and it's because I haven't seen Fantasy Grounds except from the DM's perspective yet, so it's kind of fascinating to look at. I'm gonna get very distracted watching myself.
Oh yeah. When we actually play, I'll just max screen the map.
There you go.
Like something along those lines, and cut. I haven't got the crop right yet, but yeah. So we'll be showing something a bit more like that, and then the roll will just be in the box on the right. But yeah, lovely looking map. I'm looking forward to it. The map aspect is going to be fun. I think for this this season in particular. Or this year's. That are on top.
The other thing I really like is that
I'm in the middle.
just plunked in the middle. The other thing that I really like about Fantasy Grounds has been the party sheet. I don't know if you can pull that up in your screen, but like being able to just at a glance, especially as the DM, be able to see the whole group and where you guys are and kind of your basic abilities, and it'll be good for you guys because it includes things like a party inventory and a marching formation and giving out XP. And so while I'm not 100% clear on how to do everything just yet, like the power that's there of like, instead of having to do everything manually, just go like, here you go, loot.
Right.
I'm looking forward to that. The party sheet has been something I've been diving into.
Yeah. And the combat tracker is great. I mean, a lot of the features of Fantasy Grounds are on the DM side that you guys are seeing my player version, and so I have reduced effects and stuff. But the combat tracker is really nice as well for just keeping track of where everyone is, and you can like put damage on us so we don't have to do our sheets and stuff like that. And yeah, it's gonna be cool.
And Nyla, there we go. Now
Oh, you can
everybody's
drag and drop damage onto characters.
Yep.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah,
That's
boy.
amazing.
Wow.
Someone just had
Yeah.
20 something.
You can drop.
Oh boy.
Trinkle.
Hold on, do it. So let's see this in
So
action.
it's like
I'm
every-
gonna go
every-
over here and
every-
stub
yeah.
my toe on the table. All right. So I take like what, one bludgeoning, and then
No, make it 5.
oh god. So let's say I roll 5 bludgeoning damage or something.
Are you doing it?
I don't know. That's
What are you doing?
reply target not available. I have to just drag a dice on. Yeah, let's do
I
that.
don't think you can damage yourself.
And then what do you just drag it on? How does it work?
So we don't have access to this on a combat tracker because this is the DM's place to do it.
Yeah, I'm trying.
So the HP is our max HP. The temp is temporary HP, the TMP, and then the WND is actually wounds. So it counts upwards rather than downwards. Roll 20, you count downwards on your HP, so you have like 50 HP. When you take 5, you go down to 45. With this, it counts upwards. So the WND is 51. If you're 51 out of 51, you're dead. You're unconscious.
Is that wind?
Wounds.
Wound.
Yeah,
Wound,
W and
sorry,
D is
wound,
wound, yeah. So on your character sheet, and I'll bring up mine here in a second, my wound would be if I had to put 5 in here, then I've taken 5 damage, right? And Obo could do that on the combat tracker in the wounds tab. You see now in the combat tracker, I've now got 5 in there. That shows what my HP is at. So you could add 5 in that, and Zyme is taking 5 damage. It's a nice little feature. I mean, you don't have to use it in the combat tracker. You know, the character sheet is still probably the easiest place for the players to do it, because then Obo doesn't have to worrying about what all of our HPs are all the time. But it's something that you can do. There's a lot of neat little features.
That's actually how I've always done it in pen and paper. I've always counted up, so it saves rubbing out my max every time, whatever.
Yeah.
Here you go. I'll give you something to fight. Deadly flump.
No.
Not the flump.
Please, God. No.
Anything but the flump.
Like, I think I can beat it, but the guilt.
I can target somebody, and then I can say, ooh, I'm gonna attack you, and I just roll onto you with my tendrils. And here we go. Did that work?
No.
Oh, and able to target. I can't target you.
Haha, we win.
We win the game!
We did it, guys! Yay!
The battle is won. Yeah, we'll get
It
through all
was
of
a
it.
hard one, but we
Some
overcame it.
things I'm working out. So.
The targeting thing is actually a little tricky, but we'll get the hang of it as we go. And at the end of the day, you can just pick up a d20 and you can just throw it in the dice roller, and there's your roll right there. You can also I don't know if I ran you guys through this, but in the modifier bit down the bottom left pile of dice. So, someone just donated. I don't have the Streamlabs thing up. Thank you. I'll go look at that in a second. You can just add in like +4 or something like that, and then it rolls with a d20 +4 for you, like so.
That's good because one of my I was trying to figure out how to automatically put this in because one of my features as a paladin is like an aura thing, which gives anyone in 10 feet a modifier. So that's a good way to do it. Good to know. Yay.
Yep, you can also roll with advantage or disadvantage by clicking those down. And then it rolls 2d20 and takes the highest one for me, so...
And my favorite thing to do with the dice is if you're holding a dice that you're about to drop and you're like, oh wait, I need to actually roll like 2 or 3 d8s, you just right-click and it starts adding dice. So if you need to roll 3 d8, you just right-click and add a whole bunch of dice.
Yeah, you could roll up to 20 dice at the same time.
Beautiful. I want to roll that much damage. I want to do that.
Yep.
You just rolled 20 dice, but did not get a single nat 20.
Well...
But you got a total of 213.
Shade.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sorry. I'm just
And then on the
practicing my
bottom-
rolls over here.
You guys all have hotkeys that you can literally just drag and drop in program. So if we had a rogue who did sneak attack, you could just program in doing your sneak attack damage and just just click on that and be like, all right, here's this and that and that. So if you have things that you do on a regular basis, and instead of having to find it on your character sheet or this, you can just click on 7 and it'll just do the thing you want to do. It's super useful.
Something I recommend all us players do is you see the little dragon tab, the little dragon icon top left on your map, which should be red. You can drag this, and the same goes for everything in Fancy Grounds, any items, any spells, basically everything either has a little I tab or a dragon tab. You can pull that down into your hotkeys, and that's always in your hotkeys. So if ever we go off the map, instead of Lauren having to reshare it again, you can just click on the hotkey and it comes back up again. And the same goes for if I have a spell, and I'm like, oh, okay, I always forget what Chill Touch does or something like that. Cool. I can just grab it from my spell list, bring it down, and click it, and Chill Touch comes up. Wow. Same goes for... There's actually more than just this row of hotkeys as well. It's a bit like a video game. So you can hold down Shift. Control. Yeah, Shift, Control, and Alt to get alternative hotkeys. So I could put...
all the hotkeys!
I could put all of my spells on these hotkeys. I could put all of my maps on the Shift hotkeys, all of my items on the Control, and all of my maps on the... whatever, So there's a lot you can do with it. It's just a matter of having someone there to show you how to do that stuff. I found it Fancy Grounds.
Oh my god, that's amazing.
It's gonna the quality of life will be very high.
I really love the translation feature as well, where you can write text
Yes.
and it comes out in translated. Oh, so cool.
Yeah, and only if you have a language on your character sheet, then it'll translate it for you, and if you don't, you'll just see the random text. And the
Some
GM,
Dwarven, I guess.
yeah, the GM can see who can understand that. I mean, it's a little feature, but it can be nice for puzzles and stuff like that.
Neat.
Yeah, so that's the fancy ground stuff. I'll go back to this other screen.
You guys should also have, I don't know if you can see it or not, you should have access to a dice tower.
Mm-hmm.
If you specifically roll in the dice tower, that is a hidden roll that only I and you can see. So if, I don't know how often it would be that you need a super hidden roll, but if that ever happens, or if I roll something hidden, you can just put it in that dice tower, and the only people that can see it are you and me.
Like GM rolling, basically, but you just click in the dice tower. Yeah,
Sweet.
it is. It is.
You-
Go ahead,
I
guys.
also appreciate that you can just drop the dice instead of having to physically
type it
move
up.
the mouse to throw
Yes.
them.
Yes.
Because
I'll
I
probably
suck
do that
at
anyway.
that. Yeah.
I mean, I enjoy doing that. Yeah. It's also the case for those interested in the well. If you were to roll the dice outside of the dice roller, it doesn't show up as a dice roll.
Nope.
So, like, if I were to roll it onto the map, the other players don't see that at all. It's just
Yeah,
me
that's what
screwing
I'm
around.
doing all the time, ever. I'm literally just playing with dice
Playing with
constantly.
dice. There you go.
Yep.
So you can
You
throw it
saw
into
how I
the
was
roller.
messing around with the ruler in Roll20. It's like that again, but with dice.
It's like the ruler all over again.
Yeah.
So that's some of the basic features of Fantasy Grounds, our sponsors for this season. So you can
Thank you, Fantasy.
Fake Fantasy Grounds. You guys should check it out. And if you actually want a chance to play in a Fantasy Grounds game that we'll be running, that's the viewer game every Thursday at 4:30 p.m. Eastern. The Trials of Baal. Myself and Chelsea and Chris and Madame Gandalf will be playing with you guys in chat. And you guys can come along and play in Fantasy Grounds. We'll walk you through it. Also, Super Wasp King donated £1 to give disadvantage on Sugar's first roll. Oh.
Oh,
Oh yeah, no, I know.
Rip. The anticipatory donations are the best ones I found.
I love it. I love it.
Greg
I
got
love
about
this. And
50
all
Wild
week
Magic Surges.
plotting on what to make your roll.
Amazing. I mean, we've got we've got some time. We can stay and hang out for a little bit more on this session 0 if there's anything else we want to go over. We've got another session 0 coming up in about an hour or so. So, I mean, I'm happy to shoot the ship for a little bit and talk some D&D. If you guys in chat have some questions, some Q&As, we can do a little bit of that. Either about Fantasy Grounds, about this season, about D&D in general. Feel free to pump some questions out towards us. I'm really looking forward to monthly modules. I've been looking.
Oh, good.
I've been. It's only been a week, and yet I want to be playing. You know, so, you know when you do a session 0 and you're like, man, now I want to play right now. You know.
Yeah.
To be honest, I usually do my session 0s right before we
Yeah.
start to play.
Yeah.
So, especially my home game, it's like we do the session 0 is like we chat for a little bit. Everybody kind of plans your characters. They come up with a plan for their basic characters, and then we usually play for like an hour or two, which is because everybody has that itch that just like, okay, now I've got the dice in my hands. Yeah,
Yeah.
I've got this character sheet. You've been talking about this thing for forever, so come on, let's go. It's like buying the car and then being told that you can't drive it until tomorrow. Like, wait, what? I bought this car. I want to drive
Right.
the car.
Right.
No, you need to hear more about the car.
Exactly.
No, it's got to be detailed. And it's got to do this and cleaned on the inside. No, give me car. Give me car. Let me drive. Not that I've had that experience or anything.
The session now is going to be Atomic Cthulhu, which is Call of Cthulhu set in basically the Fallout world, same kind of era. So we'll be doing session 0 for that as well. So plenty of session 0s this week. I'm taking it easy. Getting at us earlier, I guess he'd been discussing the difficulties of running higher level D&D campaigns. We're at level 7 right now, so we're pretty powerful. I've just got access to my first 4th level spell, so I'm dimension dooring all around, and players start to get a lot of crazy shit that you can start to do, especially spellcasters. you know, does that get a little bit difficult to balance on your end, Obo?
Sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
I'd rather, as I said, I'd rather have the more power just because then I can throw things at you, or I feel like I can challenge you with more interesting combat or more interesting social interactions. And when you guys have more tools at your disposal, you guys have more of an opportunity to be more creative, which is much more exciting as far as a D&D game. You know, we all like characters that have flaws, but also we like having characters that have options, that have tools, being able to be the one that goes, I can do that, I've got this. That's an amazing thing. And the higher level your character gets, the more often and the more varied you can do. So for me, it's less about, is it complicated, and more, it's just more options. And I haven't had a 5th edition game get above 10 yet. So the hardest part about the fights is just I haven't actually run some of the 5th edition monsters yet. I remember them from 4th. I have read over them. I've used some of them in like different ways in my campaign, but like that's the hardest thing, is like, have I actually run a mind flayer? Have I actually run one of these? Not quite yet, but you know, we'll see what happens.
Has anyone read Tome of Foes yet? Because that's apparently got loads of high level creatures in it as well.
Maybe.
I may or may not.
There's an NDA.
Yeah. Well, okay. So but I can officially say, because my podcast Dungeon Drunks is part
yes,
of the
you guys are
podcast
doing the Foes.
Yeah. So if you want to hear some advanced stuff for what's happening in Tome of Foes, then go check out. If you just look for Wizards of the Coast Dungeon Dragons podcast of Foes. There's like 20 of us who all got advanced copies of the book and who are planning games, one-shots and games that are going to be released before the book is officially released, that will include stuff from the books. And I may or may not be looking at a copy right now.
Links.
But no, there are NDAs, so I can't show anything. But I'm so excited. But that book is full of a lot of higher level stuff and a lot of demons and devils. So, which is stuff they've already talked about. I'm not saying anything they haven't already said. So, but it is definitely
soon.
Yeah. soon. Excited.
Man. Yeah. No, that's gonna be a good one. Yeah, I don't. That's something I've run into a problem as well. Just as a dungeon master, is like, how do I do this without killing them? But how do I balance like high level stuff? Because I've done a lot of like lowest level stuff, like 1 to 5 stuff. Very familiar with like the creatures and the power balance of the game around them. And around like level 7 to 9 is when like I stop being able to track everything that the players can do, and I'm like, okay, you have how many spells, and they do what now, and this what feature, and that's just because my brain is sludge, but it does get a little bit difficult to track.
No, I agree.
It's not you. That's why I say, listen, it's your job to know what your character can do. I will help if you have questions, but I got enough I gotta take care of. You guys do your thing.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm with you on that, Will. 1 to 5, very experienced, and then beyond that, my best advice is don't balance. Like, there are going to be things that are more powerful than you, and there's going to be things that are a whitewash, and that's immersion of the world as well. Like, not everything we come across I expect to be perfectly balanced,
right,
for our difficulty. So there will probably be times when you have to run away, and times when it's like, we got the jump on them, whatever. But yeah, don't balance. Beyond that level, it's pointless. You're not going to be able to. And the challenge rating system does start to fall apart the higher level you get. It's just a thing.
The scariest sounding thing to me is like running a level 20 campaign. Like, that would be so scary. Like, how'd you even do that? That would be difficult.
That's when Vecna shows up.
Yeah. I mean, it's definitely one thing to have like played a 10-year campaign running up to level 20, because then you know everything that's going on. But yeah, just jumping right into that would be hard. Wolf asked, for everyone, what is your favourite or most fun character that you've ever made? Ooh. Toto D, let's throw this one over to you. What's your favourite or most fun character you've made? Oh, you're muted.
Oh, mute.
I've always
Sorry,
been quiet recently.
Yeah, no, yeah. Well, I was trying to be quiet because I was respectful. Plus, I'm trying to figure out this fantasy ground thing.
Same.
Because if it's for spellcaster, it's a little bit more complicated. So I think probably I do have to say that I do love Trinkle in a lot of ways, just because she is just very chaotic, unlike myself, which I'm very, very organized in real life. But I have to say one of my other favorite characters that I did is, you guys, if you know me and you watch me on Twitch, you know I'm a big fan of Alice in Wonderland. It's always been one of my favorite stories, just because it's this idea that, you know, you get thrown into a place where it seems like chaotic and nothing makes sense, and then yet when you almost leave, you realize your world's more chaotic and doesn't always make sense. And I just feel like I love that enlightening moment where you're like, where you just kind of go visit other cultures. I travel a lot in real life. I've lived in Korea, I lived in the Philippines, I've lived in Spain, and just being able to kind of immerse myself in different cultures was kind of that fun thing. So anyway, I love the book Alice in Wonderland because of that kind of euphoric experience. So one of my characters was actually a very, 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 very just cute, adorable, just like exquisite kind of Victorian Alice, where she's just all just prissy and dressed up, comes from this this family of I want to say ASMR, but it's not ASMR, artificers. And she was supposed to be an artificer, but then she finds out that she is a very much woodland druid, and she's having to go through this experience of being super clean and just very organized, and has to like finally like discover that she's more natural. She freaks out when she first learns that she can talk to animals. She freaks out when she just gets lost in the forest, just like Alice, and just goes on this crazy like trippy adventure where she meets these things, and she's like, I don't know what's wrong with me, to come out that she finds out she's a druid, and she's having to kind of like realize that life is okay, the fact that this is who she is. And it's just really fun because to take this character who's just so noble and have to throw her into this very natural world was just so much fun, just because I don't know, like when it was really fun, because again, it's this idea of having to take something so different and throw it in an environment that was just not her, and just to see how she changes and explores. So yeah, that was my favorite character.
Nice. That sounds like a lot of fun.
It was fun.
Oh, how I miss those days. Lauren. Hopefully the time was there.
Yeah. I mean, it was one of them. I mean, you know the answer to that question. My favorite character that I've ever played was Georgie from the last, not season 1, but last year's stuff, because that's the first campaign I ever completed. And it's so weird because I do some theater and film stuff, and that stuff is pre-written, but I've never been part of one that was such a satisfying arc of a character.
Mm-hmm.
And it was just hilarious because it was all completely improvised, and mostly me going, sure, that sounds like it's a thing. And because she could just shoot so many things, the numbers were so high, and it made me so happy all the time. Fighters are amazing.
Over the top.
God, I love fighters.
Like water dipped dynamite you shoot.
Yes! I'll treasure it forever and ever and ever. But another one that I really love playing is, and I didn't know that this would be my thing, but I play in a Pulp Cthulhu game right now. So not D&D, but something I learned about through people at Encounter Roleplay, and we play with Greg, who's keeping Atomic Cthulhu later. And I play a psychic who's very, very Southern, like a parody of my own accent. But I like playing characters, and I think those two have that in common, who are just little lights in the darkness. You know, sometimes I'm just finishing grad school, so it's been a lot of stress and a lot of like, I gotta just get through this. So I love when I come to role playing and I can just be like a bubble of light. So I really enjoy doing that, and both of those share that in common. Yeah.
Georgia was a lot of fun. She was fun to DM.
She was amazing. She was fucking incredible.
The embodiment of sass.
Oh, God. Okay, I got that out. She's still on my cork board right there. She's still right there.
Always in our hearts.
Yes.
Chris, then, favorite character?
Oh, boy. So anyone who knows me and watching, basically we'll have to agree I have to have Chad. Chad is a fun character who was supposed to be just
Who the
a
fuck is
one-shot
Chad?
character. Chad, who the hell is Chad? I am Chad. I am Chadnir. So, jeez, here we go. So, Chad is a elf, and a half-elf bard, and well, he's a bit feminine, and by a bit, I mean he's full on gay. Well, every one of my players were like, "Oh, this is just be a fun session, just for a one shot," and I did it, and I embodied it so well, too well, that everyone was like, "Oh, you got to play that character again. Bring him back for the next one. Oh, I'm gonna make a campaign, and we're gonna call it Chad the Gay Elf's Adventures." And I'm like, "Sure, I'll keep playing this character." So yeah, Chad's a bit of a fun one. He's doesn't like to get in too much danger, and doesn't like breaking his nails, so he's not the first into a fight. And well, he always seems to piggyback everyone.
Good.
If there's like a sewage everywhere, he's like, "I'm not going in that. Like, screw that. I'm going to give a piggyback from someone." So,
He just sounds very sensible.
yeah, Chad is
To me.
a laugh.
Man,
But
boys.
he's a great bard. He's really good at healing and all that stuff. But there's a scandal that prevents him from ever going back home, where he kind of like charmed all the husbands of many a wife. Now they've kind of formed an army of angry housewives. They're going to try and take Chad on. But he owns his own casino now, which is pretty cool. But there's many adventures of Chad. It's
Wow.
just
Sounds like a
it's gone too
storied,
far.
a storied past that Chad has had.
Oh
Now
my
I
God.
totally want the Real Housewives of Faerun, just so that you can play Chad.
My goodness, that'd be awesome.
It's got so far that people in real life actually call me Chad now as a nickname, and he's been in so many different
It's
campaigns
gone
now
too
as
far.
not characters and different stages. Like I've had him from being born of another character in another campaign to being like an inquisitor in another. It's just gone too far. But the story of
Chad.
Chad is a long one.
The tale of Chad will keep you up for many a night.
Well, it's just because I do him too well.
Mm.
When I'm in full character, I do it way better, but I can't now.
It has to be
Now,
seen to be
Zaya-
believed.
I can't do it right now. It's just too much.
Can we please have Ziomedes be possessed by the ghost of some sort of gay
Oh.
max man? That'd be
Let me
great.
just write that down.
Just a
I'm
second.
feeling really saucy. Oh,
Oh, boy.
he's so bizarre, honestly.
Wow.
Oh
not,
my god.
not my proudest fab. Alright,
Moving on.
Sam, talk to us about your favorite character. Favorite.
Honestly, I do think right now, overall, my favorite character has been Nyla because she's so awkward and I love it. But besides Nyla, I would have to say a few years ago I played in a D&D game where we played pop culture characters, legit just picked a character we loved out of pop culture and played that character. And I played Buffy the Vampire Slayer, and that was really fun because I was like, oh, I grew up watching this and now I get to play a character I love, and it was really interesting playing with different other pop culture characters that shouldn't go together and trying to make them all work in a group, and it was really fun. So besides Nyla, I'd have to say that.
That sounds fun. Yeah, no, it was a lot of fun as well.
Yeah, there's nothing more kick-ass than Buffy. So
Right?
I mean,
Yeah.
Yeah.
you need a character with a great backstory and can kick ass. That's
Yeah.
a good choice.
The wombo combo.
It was a lot of fun.
Alright, what about you, Obo?
Oh, I've been thinking about this while you guys have been talking.
Yeah.
I played in 4th edition. There was and I always pronounce it wrong. There was a race of Henjenki, I want to say they were called. They were
Okay.
shapeshifters, but you could only turn into one thing. And so I played this Henjenki ranger who could turn into a dog because I thought it was funny that they specified the difference between dog and wolf. And he was a golden. The dog that he turned into was a mutt. He looked like a mutt, but his personality was basically 100% a golden retriever. And so the group that I was with was full of characters who, like Rylan, not necessarily good people. Not all, and so there was a lot of chaotic going on. But Kyrian, my Henjenki Ranger, was, yeah, whatever you need, yeah, sure, shoot that guy, yeah. And 4th edition had all kinds of ways of min-maxing your abilities to do tons of damage, and so we got up into the 12th and 13th level stuff. We've actually played through the Tomb of Annihilation that came out, not Tomb of Annihilation, Tomb of Horrors that came out for 4th edition, and it was just amazing. But the most fun was just being a lovable golden retriever of like, yeah, whatever you need, okay, yeah. And I saved the universe once playing fetch because we were in a tower. I was in a pocket dimension, and the guy that had brought us there made a very big point of saying that nothing can leave that's inside this thing, or else it will collapse and the universe will implode. So you can't take anything with you when you leave. And one of my friends, because that's immediately what he would do, grabbed a piece of paper off of a desk, balled it up, and tried to throw it out a window. So I turned into a dog and I played fetch. And because I was a dog, I played fetch. And so I saved the universe by playing fetch. So yeah, Kyrian was and he survived. He survived all the way up until 14th level, and he's still out there somewhere looking for someone to love. He was so much fun. He just,
that's amazing.
Yep, I can do that. I can do that. Can I? Yeah. Hold on. Oh, okay. Yeah. What? That was all he did. It was fun.
Looking for love in all the wrong places.
In all the places. In every place.
Every single place.
Yeah. He was the kind of character who would take a second to before we would fight stuff and be like, "Can this be a friend? Can we?" And he had no real charisma. Like, he couldn't really persuade anybody. He was just super cute because he was a puppy, essentially. And so he couldn't really convince anyone to be his friend. But every once in a while, be like, "Oh, those ice giants, they want to be our friend, right?" And everyone else would go, no, shoot them. Okay. Yeah, he was fun.
Reminds me, actually, there's a BBC radio drama called Elven Quest, which is well worth a listen if you're into like podcast stuff. It's really very well done. With I've forgotten his name. Anyway, a lot of famous English actors in that one, and he has a dog. The story is basically this guy goes through a portal. He's an author of a fantasy novel. He falls through a portal. He ends up in the actual world that he's written, and he has a dog. The dog comes through the portal with him. But he didn't write that there were any dogs in the game. Or I think he wrote that people can transform in and out of animal forms. So the dog becomes a human, and he's in human form, but he is actually a dog. So he's doing all of the dog things, but in human form. It sounds very familiar. Highly recommend that.
Yeah.
That was an absolute hoot of a show. I don't know who I don't know. I love DMing, and I love playing bad guys. Like, villains are my favorite characters to play in anything. What are you talking about?
What? What are you talking about? I never see you gleefully smile.
Yeah, but actual characters are a difficult one. I'm enjoying playing Rylan a lot. I'm trying to think of the other games that I played in this season, or the last season, I guess. Yeah, I think Rylan might be one of my favorites from that. I really enjoyed playing my dwarven character Gregor Tuscan for a while, and then I very quickly began to hate him quite a lot. Yeah, could have fallen out that one. But usually I find myself in the DMC, and that's where I... Grindelbrew, okay, yes, Adam's right. Okay, thank you for reminding me of the games I actually do play in. Grindelbrew is a lot of fun. He's an 850-year-old dwarf I play on Save or Dice every week. And he has been married for about 800 years, or he was married until recently. He's been divorced by his wife Doris, who left him for another dwarf named Gregor. Incidentally, the other dwarf I play on the Encounter Roleplay show. And he has never been out of the mountain. He's lived in his mountain for 850 years. And he is now on a journey with 3 halfling cousins. He is a honorary cousin of theirs, and by the way, all the halflings are like really southern. They're all halfling southern cousins. Call each other curs, and he is for the very first time exploring the world. So he is a bit of an ingenue, despite being 850. He doesn't understand a lot of things, and he is quite anti-dwarf because he's been living off this dwarven propaganda for about 850 years. And for the first time experiencing the world. So he's a lot of fun, and he cries a lot. If you want to watch me cry, Wednesdays at 7 is the time to do so, because Grindelbrew everything reminds him of his wife because he's been married to her for so long. So anything that he does inevitably comes back to reminding him of his wife, and he ends up just breaking out into tears. So that's a lot of fun. I also do enjoy playing Finbar, the bard, who is a half-elf bard who is incredibly beautiful on the outside, incredibly ugly on the inside. He's the most vacuous and vain person that you'd ever meet, and he sells underwear and makes a lot of innuendos. Thursdays is a time to actually play Finbar. It's good times. There was a question from Thunderhawk, which I guess is the reverse of the question of who's the character you most enjoyed. What do you guys do when you find yourself getting bored with a character? I mean, we must all have had those moments where you're like, you know what? I thought this was a good idea. You know? And then like 5 weeks later, you're like, this was a bad idea. Or maybe even immediately you realize that you're just not connecting with a character, or sometimes it's not just a character, sometimes it's the group of characters. For instance, when I was playing Gregor, he was like this big comedy character, and then he just really didn't get along well with any of the other characters. He just didn't seem to mesh with the group very well because, you know, he was just like a stupid dwarf, really. And I was like, man, I wish I hadn't made Gregor for this campaign. I wish I had made him for a different one. In that case, I ended up just killing him. Like he died a heroic, glorious death, and that was how he would have wanted to go out. But have you guys ever had that sort of experience where, you know, oh man, this was bad? You know?
Yeah, definitely.
Well,
I haven't had it as a player. I had it as a DM.
Right.
A bunch of
I am
times.
sick of your character.
Well, not
I'm kidding.
me. I've had
kidding.
players who got sick of their characters, and so it's like, all right, what do we do? My home game, which the group of us that have been playing together, that I call my home game, we started 8 years ago, and we were born out of a store that died. A bunch of us have been playing Adventures League from. And so we've gone through a bunch of different campaigns. We rotate who's the DM on a regular basis. We've done homebrew stuff. We've done all kinds of things. And a couple of the guys in that group are, their favorite thing to do is to create crazy characters. They've played Minotaurs and Warforged and Goblins, and if there's a crazy race or a crazy class or Unearthed Arcana that's just come out, they're the first people who are just like, I'm now sick of my character and I want to play this. So
Right.
I've kind of, they helped me practice the idea of like, all right, if you're unhappy playing this character, come next week with a new character and we'll figure it out in game. We'll figure out why, even if it's just, you know, and recently it was one of them wanted to play a goblin, and he was playing a goblin ranger, and unfortunately we were going through Storm King's Thunder at the time, and they just had a huge fight with a whole bunch of goblins, and so I'd managed to like weave in this story about him being a defector and everything, but the rest of the players were just not having it. It was just like, there's no way we're trusting a goblin. A couple of my other players wanted to kill this character, and it just wasn't working out.
Yeah.
And so he was just like, I think my goblin's just gonna go away.
Right.
Yeah, let's come up with something else. So yeah,
Right.
I haven't personally had that, but I've been the DM that has to make those transitions
Yeah.
happen.
What about you, Chris?
Yeah,
You seem
I've
to
been-
have exactly experience to speak of there.
Exactly the same as well. I've been a DM when a character's like, players, I'm not really connecting with this character. Do you want to just kill them off? And I'm like, no. Let's not just have them die or anything. Let's have some sort of like story-wise element, or at least let the dice fall the way they fall. And he's like, okay. So the next session, goodness me, they rolled on a Wild Magic Surge table at one point because of basically one of the players went unconscious. They tried to feed a good berry to them, and these weren't an ordinary good berries. These were Wild Magic Surge good berries, and tried to bring him back. And it was rolled a 6 on the D100, which was cast a fireball centered on yourself. And the person feeding the good berry was this character who's like fed up of their character, and boom, got incinerated. Went to minus HP, damage threshold, and all that. But so it was actually a stroke of luck that their character died. It was honestly crazy. But I was like, all right,
Nice.
you get to re-roll your character then.
Death, everyone's happy.
Yeah,
Yay!
exactly. Yeah, the happiest TPK ever. I was like,
Nice.
yay! Everyone's a winner. But no, I've also been as a DM trying to introduce an NPC that I intended to play as a character later when someone else took over the seat. And so I was kind of testing the waters with this character. And they were edgy, they were not abrasive, but they were just too edgy that the characters didn't connect with them, and the players hated them by the end of it. They were like, screw this guy. And funnily enough, that character's name is the same name as my avatar, Senrith, which I've never really made a proper character, and they're way too overly complicated, but then at the same time not very original either. It's really hard to try and get a good mix. I'm still trying to figure out their character. I've never really played them, so there is a background for them. They are a character in a world in my head, but I've never been able to execute them as a player character. And I think that's interesting. I don't know, maybe there's a message behind that. But hey.
Wow, that got a little deep there, didn't it? Boy.
Like imagine like a character that you've poured so much into and yet you can't fully execute them. Maybe I'm a perfectionist, maybe it just doesn't work out.
There's definitely like a case of right time and right place for a lot of characters, I think, which is what I learned with that
Right
character.
group.
Yeah, it's like, right group as well, like, and something that we've been more clear on this season on the Long March is, okay, what kind of characters do we all want to make together? What should the party look like rather than what do each of our characters individually look like, and then figure out how they work together. We kind of work, reverse engineered it. Like, okay, we want the party to look like this. A group of friends who are traveling together. Maybe there's a bit of angst, but maybe not so much. Also, thank you to the Raiders, thank you to Scrat. Welcome in, my friend. I just keep running into you, don't I, Scrat? It's like you live down the road or something. Good. Anyone else, by the way? Characters didn't connect with? Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, so I played this character for a very long time. It was my first D&D character for an extended campaign, and I think we played a year and a half. We were playing Curse of Strahd, and I had made a warlock for my character. And there were like mechanical reasons I was frustrated. Like, we never short rested, so I was mechanically frustrated. But also she was so hyper paranoid and like brainy all the time, so that by the time I joined Encounter Roleplay, I made somebody who would just be like, I shoot it, and it's great. She was always so paranoid about everything, and it was exhausting. And I probably should have like mentioned it, but it, how that campaign works. It's like, trapped. She was just so worried all the time that I was so tired. No more worrying for me. Yeah. No, thank you.
This sugar character just isn't working out.
Yeah, that took a bit.
It's just not gonna happen.
Session 0, like,
I'm just not feeling it.
It really reminds me of there's I think it's a Michelin web sketch, and is his best friend, and his best friend has got really bad news that he's really, really ill, and he's not going to make it. He's going to live for like another month, and he's like, I want to do everything for you, mate. This is just going to be your month. We're going to do absolutely everything for you. So he's like, what do you want to do? He wants to go skiing. So he like organizes this huge ski trip, and he's like, and he just keeps doing these more and more huge things for him, where he's like, just have my car, have my house, and he's like, it's good, but man, destroying a character in session 0 would be impressive. I was actually saying in chat earlier, but in the Traveler system, you can actually have your character killed in character creation.
Yes.
So
yeah, it can happen in Deadlands too.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a couple of them where if you roll wrong when you're creating your character just dies. Gone. Bye-bye. Died on the paper.
I was muted for that whole sentence, so I'll read that out again. I was on Photoshop. Anyway, I've never had a character survive past the first day. The only game I could ever find was some West Marches group let enforce beyond lethal encounters every battle and no healing potions. That could suck a little bit.
Yeah, listen, some people have fun doing those kind of hardcore games. And if you're one of those people, more power to you, and I hope you find a group. It's not me. But that's the joy of D&D, is that it's just finding the right group that wants to play the way you want to play.
I've had
Yeah, every person's D&D is different from someone else's D&D. I
Yeah.
find.
I've definitely had fun doing that in one shots. You know, that's been enjoyable. Like doing that sort of you're all fucked, we're gonna die, and we know it's gonna, you know, it's like a meat grinder sort of game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I run that as well, like Dread. If you've ever played Dread,
Mhm.
that's a really cool survival horror one-shot styled campaign. But yeah, you can totally have the end goal is to kill the party members, but they as long as they're on board with that and they know the actual perils and that's the kind of genre, then yeah, then it can work really well.
Yeah. Yeah, we did. What was I going to say? Heroes Graveyard on the one Saturday. We did a couple of games of that, and it was very clear. Like, you were coming here to die. You know, like this is the aim of the game. It's like, all right, cool. We'll just go down in a cool way, and that was fine. But it is that is a lot more frustrating when you don't have that sort of preconception or have that session 0, and you just turn up and a DM's like, haha, you're all dying. It's like, oh, I put so much work into my character, look, I'm sorry.
Yep.
And then they get, yeah. Session 0s, do them, my friends. Oh, actually, Ishman in chat mentioning paranoia. That was a good example of just killing everyone and it being fun. I think Lauren and I played in a game of that, or a couple of sessions of that. Two sessions, yes. Yeah. That's what I did 9 hours every day for some reason.
I don't remember why.
It's awful. But yes, I got really grumpy about the last hour, so I'm like, I'm done. I don't want to be here anymore. But that
It was
fun.
fine. We were on the Monday, so I was like, we're fine.
Yeah. But no, that was definitely a fun game to play.
I don't think you can figure out a way to win that game in any sense.
No.
Like Monopoly.
Goodness.
Yeah, that's true.
No one wins Monopoly.
No.
Well, one person wins, and then everyone else hates that person, so they don't
I
feel
don't
like.
think I've ever played a game of Monopoly where anybody's won.
I don't think I've
Right.
ever played a game of Monopoly like halfway through it.
Yep.
Yeah.
My family get
These are-
very competitive. We're not allowed to play it
Yeah.
anymore after
Yeah.
that one
Yeah,
Christmas.
I refuse to play it with certain people because.
Oh, I can't play like Mario Party because me and my sister will attack each other.
Unfortunately, I am one of those people, which is why I find a happy medium with D&D, because it's a collaborative game.
Yeah.
So you never, don't worry, you'll never see my competitive, horrible side.
That's why I
I
play
want to see
D&D.
this now. I was like, I want to see the devils come out.
Yeah.
No, that's why I
Thank
play
you.
D&D as well, because it's scary. Varsity Tennis Lauren was very scary. It's
I-
gone.
I have some rage Halo moments that I can
Oh,
remember. And I still to this day have a hard if a whole group of us get together to play Halo, I want to be the person that we're all on the same team and go and
Yes.
play.
Yes.
Because if I have to fight against my friends, I have a hard time not feeling like if they killed me that, oh, I suck, and if I killed them that it's just bad. This is bad.
That's that
I must play Halo on the same team.
My
yeah.
worst one is trivia. Don't play trivia
Oh.
against me.
Yeah, pub quizzes. I don't know about you guys. That's competitive sport around here. That's basically trivia, but just in a pub with more alcohol, which you can imagine just goes south even faster. Yeah, that is true. Like D&D is very good. If you're a very competitive person, like myself, or like all of us here, it sounds like D&D is a good one because that teaches you. You gotta work together, guys. You gotta work together.
It's like the group project that can go really well or really wrong.
Yeah, it's true, isn't it?
Yep.
I mean, Tony D, you've been mentioning that you've had some less than favorable experiences, I suppose, or less than favorable groups. Like D&D, I find is the best when you're having a great time, and the worst when you're not having a good time, because it's like this is meant to be good, and it's shit.
Yeah.
It's not like work, it's not like you go in and it's like, oh, I know I have, or like school, I know I've got an exam today. Your expectations are that it's going to be shit. It's that your expectations are dashed when you're not having fun playing D&D, because it's like, oh man, it's going to be great, and then, oh no.
It's also harder to divorce it from yourself because like if I'm playing a board game that's mostly mechanical, or if I'm playing a video game and I'm not having fun, I can blame an inanimate object. I can blame the game, I can blame the controller, I can blame the cards, I can blame that. But D&D is such a social game that if you're not having fun, and it might just be you're not having fun because it's just you're having a bad day, or it's just not the game for you, and it might really not be anyone's fault, but it feels like it's my fault or it's your fault or it's someone's fault, and that just feels horrible. So yeah, when D&D goes bad, it's really hard. Fortunately, that it doesn't happen very often, but yeah.
This will be good.
This will be
Sometimes you can
fun.
get salty. Sometimes I've seen people get salty with the dice, like rolling 2 nat ones or something, and then
Oh well, yeah.
Well, that is the dice's fault.
Yeah,
the
that's
dice
something
fault.
else.
You know, it's still that like.
That's just rude.
That's
Well,
why
I think-
people get all upset about their dice.
oh, Liam
I do.
especially. Do you remember Liam? God, he
Yes.
freaking got salty with the dice. It's like,
I think that was roll 20.
oh yeah, roll 20.
Yeah, that can be frustrating. I mean, I had a character this season that I ended up just being like, oh, screw this guy. Because, you know, he would roll literally like 10, 11 every roll. You know, it was funny for a while. I'll admit, I laughed. And then, after a time, that laughter soured into a lot of negative
Good.
energy around this character. I was like, you know what? This guy. I need to kill this character so that my luck can be reset. You know, I need a sacrifice. There's something needs to happen here.
At a table with physical dice, do any of you guys have dice rituals? Are you
good question.
superstitious?
Yeah.
I
don't
only,
like when
only
other-
use dice from dndice.co.uk, getting that 5% discount using coupon code Encounter Roleplay. That's my superstition.
This is a good one.
That's a good one. I mean, it keeps,
I like it.
it pays the rent, right? You know, that's why I have that superstition.
I think mine, I don't like other people to touch my dice without asking. I've had some tables that show up and people are just
lean
like,
over and
"Ooh,"
grab
start
it.
touching
Yeah,
my
lean
dice.
over and grab. Oh no,
Freak
honey,
out.
honey, no.
Buddy, no.
If you know Laura Bailey from Critical Role, I am her. I have I have too many dice and I do roll them, and if they don't do well, then I put them in dice jail.
I have a dice jail too.
Yeah, so like for me, I'm I don't know. I'm a girl on that, but I think that's what I think was hard for Roll 20. Was like there was no like I couldn't do that. It just was like good, I guess. If it was bad, I guess whatever.
Dice
I couldn't punish anything.
You got a sweet talk RNG. That's the only way. You can name your little dice at the bottom. I'm gonna give them names. I think maybe Bob.
That is
Yeah.
the one thing that I do miss. Like, as much as I love Theater of the Mind, as much as even my home games, when we're sitting around at a table, it's all, there's no maps, there's no minis, there's no any of that. I do miss rolling physical dice.
Yeah.
I love
and
dice.
I have some really nice, heavy metal dice that make
Metal? Yeah.
So yeah, I do miss that. But I'm not superstitious about it at all. I don't care if people touch my dice. I don't if they're rolling bad. Oh well. I use the same set of dice to DM and as a player, and that freaked people out. I'm like, dice, just dice. And they're like, no, you use that. When we were fighting those ogres, you were using those dice, and you can't use those dice when you're playing a player. And I'm like,
It's tarnished.
all right, I'll use a different set of dice.
Whatever makes you happy.
Yeah. Like,
And
I'm
I
not
just learned that we could color our dice on the thing.
Wait, what?
Oh,
How?
I have pink dice now, guys. I'm awesome.
I want pink dice.
How do you color it?
If you go to the top, so if you go to the top
Wait, what
right, there's combat tracker. There's it's on the second column, second down. It says colors, and if you click that,
Oh
it'll
my god,
change
you're
your
right.
dice.
Yes, I know. I've seen this before.
Nope.
Sorry, guys. I just,
That's how I have
Oh my god. Look at this.
Oh, good.
Pog champ.
Except I can't see my numbers now because they're too white.
Thrilling.
Oh my god,
This
you
is
keep clicking and
thrilling.
You can keep changing. Oh, okay, there we go. I'm
Oh
changing the
my
text white.
god. This
There we
is,
go. Siamese dice. They're all white.
this is groundbreaking. This is the technology we needed.
We figured it out. We figured it out.
can you guys tell I've been paying attention?
Yeah.
How do I do this?
Yeah.
Dice
God.
color is super important. I might
I
not
agree.
I might not be superstitious about my dice.
But they have to look
Color.
pretty.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Your island should just be the blackest black.
Like, yeah.
Just
Oh,
no numbers. Change the numbers to the black too.
Oh my god. Yeah.
Can't even see the
I think
numbers.
like a nice dark green for him, you know?
Oh, yeah, that'd be
Oh yeah, you can actually make it white with black letters. So yeah.
Ooh. Yeah, you can change the lettering. This is next level.
Look at us all geeking out over
Look at
colours.
us. Thank God
Colourblind.
Fantasy Grounds sponsored the show. If without them, I mean, this is a big one-up over Roll20 for me already. So, another shout out to our sponsors, Fantasy Grounds. Go, let's colour in your dice, my friends. Live your life vicariously through Fantasy Grounds. This is amazing.
Now we need it to make the sound of heavy metal dice rolling in a dice tray. We need that good ASMR noise
Oh my God.
when it
Yes.
rolls, and then it'll be perfect.
Oh, shut it. Oh.
Oh.
Why not in that 20?
This is going well.
This is quality. We're just entertaining.
This is quality entertainment right here. This is.
I mean, I'm super
I mean,
entertained.
there's like 100 people watching. I mean, it's got to be good, right? This is a theory.
Oh, pink, I just want to eat them.
All right.
I mean,
Ooh, hot pink.
Ooh.
Oh, you got hot pink. I was trying for that, but I couldn't do it.
just keep pressing it.
Yeah, just keep clicking. Just keep pressing them.
Just keep.
This is thrilling.
This is
Keep pressing which way?
really
Oh,
quality
never mind.
entertainment.
The colour.
Yep.
Amazing.
You know,
I'm
if
just-
only we could make that flame touch dice that the D&D dice, the
Oh.
D&D dice people make.
I get onto
Here we
Grady.
go.
Those are pretty.
I get onto Grady.
I want that
Yo.
chromatic set so bad. That looked good.
I'm like, yo, I know that you run dice in real life, but stay with me.
Hear me out.
Hear me out. You need this. Okay, maybe you don't need this, but I need this. That's as important to me.
Mm-hmm.
Amazing, amazing. Truly, we have outdone ourselves.
I don't think so. Quality content right here.
This is like unboxing videos. You
Yeah.
watch people just unbox things. This is we just roll dice. We
Yep.
roll dice for 3 hours. That's all we do. In different colors.
Yes.
Oh man, well, good stuff. I'll go back to the other screen, so we'll stop just being distracted by all of the pretty dice.
Never.
Never.
Not gonna happen.
I like that I could change the dice on how my mood is feeling. The color.
Yes.
Yeah.
You can also change your mood in character as well.
Wait, what?
/ mood, and then change something.
Wait, I've got it. Oh, I don't think it worked.
Stop
And then
everything.
whenever you
Failed on typing.
See,
That's fine.
the only thing, and Mitch is right about this, the only thing is that it still shows up as black in my dice roller. Now I'm gonna have to chat to Doug about this. Doug, I was on Fantasy Grounds Friday. The other day, and Doug was like, "If there was one feature about Fantasy Grounds that you would have right now and you would change, what would it be?" And I said, "I don't actually know." He said, "The next time you use Fantasy Grounds, you're gonna figure it out," and I have. Doug, you were right, and there's a fatal flaw in your product, and I have identified it for you. So you're welcome.
And
You're welcome.
what is it?
It needs the dice may be that color, but in the dice roller they still show up black.
Oh no!
See?
Good chat, no matter.
Yeah. So we got to get on this.
Thought you were special.
I'm gonna tweet at Fantasy Grounds now because I said I would
Yeah,
when I
but-
figured it out.
Yeah, but what if you make your text black and the dice black, and then you just can't see anything, and it's just.
Why would you do that?
Maybe you
That
can
is-
hide it.
That actually is smart because then you could be able to tell the color of the person really quickly without having to I don't know. Yeah, do it. Do
That
it.
I will
must
say
be an
the
option.
one feature that it does is if you roll with advantage or disadvantage, then wow, I just rolled 2 natural ones.
Hey,
Let's
hey.
Hey.
There we go. If you roll with advantage, it
Yes, it does
greens
screen them out. Yeah.
Yeah, and if you roll with disadvantage, I think it does it. Yeah, in red. So you
Gotcha.
do get a little bit of color changing in there, but
Oh, I've got a great suggestion. I'll just roll my disadvantage now for, no reason. There.
You're a natural one.
Yeah, here we go.
Oh, what a good idea.
Yeah, oh, it's done. I crossed it off
There
my
we go.
post-it.
no.
Oh, it's on my post-it.
The only way you can get rid of that is if you eat that post-it note.
Super.
Oh.
Don't test me.
Gross.
Don't test me.
I like the gumption. I like the try.
Oh, gumption. That's a good one.
That's a good
I want
one.
that on a t-shirt.
Alright, I gotta take a screenshot for Doug and I'm tweeting at him so he can fix it for me because this
Okay.
is unacceptable. I will.
Everyone smile.
Well, I'm actually just taking it on Fantasy Grounds. I can take it off us as
No,
well if you
take it
want.
of us.
Alright,
Take it of
alright.
us.
Alright, fine. Alright. Everyone smile.
This is our
Ah,
family
I'm yawning.
photo.
All right, good. I did it.
That's our family photo. Super awkward family photo.
Oh, we're trying to be awkward. Is it-
I want that one. I want it in the chat.
Tweet it with you guys tagged, so don't worry.
Thank you.
Excellent. That is
I've
what
seen
stream.
over coloured decks.
Absolutely.
If we had one wish.
We're beta testers for this.
Yeah, pretty
product.
much.
It's been out for years.
I consider myself a beta tester. Oh, amazing. Well, I think that this is the time that we sign off and head into the next show. Traditionally, this is when this happens. Thank you guys for watching this. We are going to head right into another Session 0 here in a couple of minutes' time. Atomic Cthulhu, which is our Fallout-inspired Cthulhu campaign. So stick around for that. We've got plenty more Session 0 stuff coming along. You can ask questions to the Frat Pack crew who are coming into the next game here. It's going to be fun. So stick around for that. But let's go around the cast and crew. Did we enjoy ourselves tonight? Are we looking forward to the next show? And where can we find you guys online? The start of Obo Crazy. Great job tonight, Obo. What did you think?
Well, this was fun for me because we just got to talk. Next week, I actually have to do things. That's going to be more intense. But hi, I'm Obo Crazy, also known as Lauren. You can find me on most of the social medias as Obo Crazy. I also DM the group Dungeon Drunks, which is a podcast that you can find wherever fine podcasts are sold. As I said before, we're going to be previewing some. I almost said Dome of Foes.
Dome of Foes.
Yeah.
Foam of Those.
So some excellent Tome of Foes content. You can also find me in the Wizards of the Coast chat doing chat stuff because I'm a moderator and I do chat things. So find me there, and I cannot wait to play next week. Yay!
Great stuff, thank you, Lauren. Sam, Holly's Armory.
You can find me on Twitter at Harley's Armory, and I'll put that link in the chat. I am so excited to play next week. I wish we played today, but like talking was so much fun. Well, like now I feel like I just want to play right now.
Right.
But yeah, it was talking about things is really great today, and I'm really, really excited for next week.
Absolutely. Thanks so much. And Chris, what do you have to say for yourself?
You can find me at Twitter as well, at Zenrith_, link in the chat. I won't be here next week, sad face. Unfortunately, I'll be on holiday? No, that'll be a good thing, I'll be on holiday. But it'll be unfortunate I can't play with you guys. But I hope you have a great time on Session 1. It's going to be cool, I'm sure. I'll try and tune in fact. But yeah, I'll be all the way in Scotland, so chilling out, relaxing.
Ooh, very nice. Very nice indeed.
Yeah.
Great stuff. Cool.
But I'm still super looking forward to Session 2, which
Yeah.
I will be joining for. That'll be when the best stuff happens, when I rejoin, yes.
There you go. Great stuff. And Lauren.
Yes, I am super, super looking forward to next week. I cannot wait. It's going to be so much fun. Otherwise, you can find me on Twitter at ThatSaltyGinger. And on Sunday nights, I play in a Pulp Cthulhu campaign, like I said, with Greg, Grimjack 21502. That's at 7 p.m. Eastern. We punch Nazis. We do lots of things. We fight Eldritch monsters, and it's a blast. Also, on Saturday, I'm doing a stream for charity. We're playing The King is Dead over on Bad Boy Grant's channel, Grant R. Ellis, in the morning. And that's with me, Greg, Chelsea Little Red Dot, Tall Squall, and Grant. And we're all going to be wearing wigs and tiaras. All of us. All of us. So you should probably watch it. I would recommend it anyway.
Great stuff. Great stuff. Toto D.
Hi guys, I am Toto D, your crazy Alice in Wonderland of the internet. I am a Twitch streamer. Actually, I'm actually a real estate appraiser by day, Twitch streamer by night. And I'll actually be starting Twitch streaming again next Monday. I've been going through a lot of illnesses and sicknesses recently, and finally I think my life is stabilized, so that's really good. I'm no longer just sleeping the day away and crying. So anyway, if you would like to come hang out and play some Blizzard games as well as watch me flail around and do Just Dance, it's quite a fun experience at our Mad Tea Party. We would love to have you there because, hey, everyone loves Wonderland. So thank you again for all of your guys' support for the channel. It's been amazing, and hopefully we'll see you soon.
Thank you so much, Toda D. It's been a lot of fun. I very much enjoyed the session 0, and it's made me even more excited for the actual session next week. So we're on sort of session 0 week. We're taking a chill break because I know how to relax. And we'll be back next week with the premieres. So every session next week is session 1 of season 2 on Encounter Roleplay. So come and join us for monthly modules every 1 PM Eastern here, and we're going to jump into our next game here, the Atomic Cthulhu game. So stick around with us, but until next time, my friends, try not to roll too many nat ones because we want to be here laughing when you do. Good night, everybody. Bye.